Hey y'all, thanks for joining me. We have a pretty big story to cover today that I saw last week, and I'm going to share that with you and then where it went from there. Okay, this is from the same website as the other story I shared with you about the FANAR's award choice. This is kind of a continuation of that, and it's by the author Nicholas, a member of the Western Rite Vicariate, a part of the Antiochian Orthodox Christian Archdiocese in America. So he's bringing up what we had discussed before of Zelensky being honored in New York City as a beacon of hope by the trustees of St. Nicholas National Shrine. So they put together a petition to sign against that. I want to get into what he gets into here because it's a bit caustic. He gets into this other portion here about money and power. So he says, our Lord Jesus Christ famously said, no man can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or else he will hold to the one and despise the other. Ye cannot serve God and mammon. This is Matthew Gospel 6:24. Each of us has to choose. The leadership of the Greek Orthodox Archdiocese of America has apparently chosen mammon. I can't disagree with him there that there are certain people in that archdiocese that seem to be more interested in something other than the church, the spiritual side of life and in the church. Now he gets into this. Top tier sponsors of this event will pay anywhere from $3,500 to $250,000. Individual seats are $1,500 each, though you can get a young adult ticket to the after dinner cocktail party for a mere $200. How much money is this event going to raise? There is no official estimate, but last year's event brought in a cool $2 million. Of course, the 2025 event honored first responders in New York City. This year, with the global and political stakes involved, the haul could be even more substantial. A clue as to how important money is in this equation is the fact that Archbishop Elpidophoros is the chairman of the Board of Trustees of St. Nicholas Greek Orthodox Church and National Shrine. Okay. L, that's what I call him because it's easier. L is the same archbishop who tried to simultaneously raise annual parish contributions 9% and the annual expenses of his own office 37.5%, with no credible explanation as to why. Okay, so that is something I'm trying to look into, some of these things that he's talking about, just so we can see. I would like to learn about this, obviously, so I went to look up some of these things, but let me go on. That brazen move was, to say the least, controversial. As journalist Charles Bossman reported, allegations of financial impropriety are constantly circulating around Archbishop El. According to Bossman, Archbishop El received kickbacks from Kiev in return for supporting the Ukrainian law mentioned earlier that is being used to persecute the UOC. Okay. Further, Bossman reports that Archbishop El has profited from the confiscation of Ukrainian Christian relics. Okay, that's a pretty big accusation this Bossman is making. And their shipment to the UK for quote-unquote expert analysis. But it isn't just Archbishop El on the Board of Trustees who has a penchant for enriching himself. Okay, I would be remiss if I did not mention the spiritual advisor of the St. Nicholas Board of Trustees, Father Alex Kalaroutsis, a man who has credibly accused this man of running a crime family, quote unquote. Okay, so there's money at stake, a lot of money. So he is basically saying that Patriarch Bartholomew, he's 86 years old. Whether he chooses to retire or die in office, his reign is unlikely to last much longer. He covets the patriarchate and is doing everything he can to position himself as next in line. And then he gets into the history with Athenagoras and the CIA and all these other things that we know about already. Here's an important piece. As journalist Charles Bosson reported, it seems that in 2019, Patriarch Bartholomew was close to backing out of his support for the schismatic New Ukrainian National Church, OCU. Bartholomew was worried that the entire idea was too outlandish for it to be credible. Now, according to Bosman, it was L who forced the idea through. So he goes on to say, since since coming to America, L has been busy further ingratiating himself to whomever wields the power to make his patriarchal dreams a reality. This is quite a huge thing to say, quite a huge allegation to put on about him, about L. I mean, yes, we know things that he's not done well, but I was reading this and it's like, Lord have mercy, okay. So, currying off, as he says, currying official American favor by giving an award to a dictatorial persecutor of Orthodox Christians is a move L is more than willing to make. And then he says, well, I may have focused quite a bit on the man in charge. L, don't get the impression that he is alone. There are others besides Carlutz's family that are benefiting from this abomination. Among the beneficiaries, however, are not Christ and his kingdom, which is all that real Orthodox Christians actually care about, not stacking Benjamins. This is a very harsh article, quite accusatory, and there's really strong words in here. He goes on from there. So he's talking about what they petition, why it's important. Growing and protecting the kingdom of Christ is what matters to us. Yes, we all want to do that. I agree with him there. I think we should be able to speak up when things are terribly wrong. So with all this information I just gave you, I want to go into, I thought, wow, he had a lot of, like I said, really strong words in there. So I'm going to go look and see what I can find on any of this information. What I'm going to start with is what happened in, I believe, this was in 2024. I'm going to show you that first from the National Herald. This was July 3rd, 2024. Proposal to increase parish contributions rejected. Archbishop L leaves meeting. Okay. So the former proposal to increase the annual financial contributions of parishes to the Archdiocese was rejected, while tension arose at the meeting of the Finance Committee of the Archdiocese, which convened on Tuesday, July 2nd, during the 47th Clergy Laity Congress. Those developments resulted in Archbishop L leaving the meeting room. Can you imagine that? Can you see that? Wow. It focused on the announced 9% increase in parish contributions to the Archdiocese for the next 2 years and the budgets for 2025 and 26. It is recalled that the issue was revealed by the National Herald in May 2024, and coverage continued in the Wednesday, July 3rd Greek edition. The increase in parish assessment and the budgets for the next 2 years had been discussed and approved by the Archdiocesan Council in its remote electronic meeting on Monday, May 13th. Okay. During the Finance Committee meeting at the Clergy Laity in San Diego, the Holy Eparchal Synod unanimously opposed the increase in community contributions, except for Metropolitan Nicholas of Detroit, who remained neutral. the chairman of the Finance Committee, Lazarus Kirkus, and Treasurer Elaine Allen faced strong resistance from hierarchs, priests, and laity who voted against the proposals. So in the vote that was conducted, 95 participants voted against any increase, while 64 voted in favor. The budget was to remain at the same levels for the next 2 years due to the financial difficulties most communities are facing. It was also mentioned that there should be no cuts from the Archdiocese's annual contribution to the School of Theology, which currently amounts to $3.5 million. These cuts had been proposed by Treasurer Elaine Allen. Now, sources of the National Herald from within reported that chaotic situations arose multiple times from the voices and reactions of hierarchs, priests, and laity. A priest from upstate New York suggested cuts should be made in the budget of the Archbishop's office, reiterating that too many expenses are being incurred. That's huge right there, okay? Huge. Other delegates harshly demanded cuts from expenses they were unaware of, while others complained of a lack of transparency. Some delegates asked who were the people receiving so much money and asked about their identities. Wow. The matter will now go to the plenary session of the Clergy Laity Congress. Remember, this is from 2024. But delegates told the Finance Committee officials to bring the issue to the plenary session on Wednesday and not at the last moment on Thursday, when many delegates will have left. They feared the overturning of the Finance Committee's decision, which clearly rejected the increases in the assessments of the communities. Clergy who spoke to the National Herald under the condition of anonymity, for obvious reasons, said they were pleased with their metropolitans, who unanimously said, "Enough is enough. Our communities are suffering and can endure no more." Wow. They also spoke of a resounding defeat for Archbishop L and his appointed committee officials and questioned the role of certain associates of his. As already reported by TNH, the annual budget for the year 2025 amounts to $27,540,000. And for the year 2026, it is $28,315,000. Am I reading that right? In 2023, the budget was $25,460,000, and for 2024, it was $25,869,000. Regarding Archbishop L's office, for which cuts and explanations regarding the allocations of the funds were requested, the National Herald has previously reported the following, quote, Archbishop L increased the annual expenses of his office from $800,000 to basically $1.1 million. Okay. Meanwhile, no explanation of minimal accountability exists regarding the allocation of these vast sums. It is also noted that annual budget for the Archbishop's Correspondence Department for the years 23 and 24 was $200,000, while for 25 and 26 it was proposed that it increase to $250,000, so $50,000 more. Now, they also wrote the following about the communications department. Questions arise about the notorious communications department. Notorious. This is a quote. Headed by Stratos Safiolius. Can't say it. Safiolius. Due to the significant increase in its budget, specifically, the budget for 23-24 was $690,000, while it was increased to $860,000 in 25 and $885,000 in 26. In addition to this guy's communications department, there is also the public relations department, whose budget in 23 and 24 was $200,000, while in 25 and 26 increased to $235,000. There's a lot of money going on there, isn't there? Wow. Okay, so I learned about this because he brought up the whole thing about the NIMS. I thought, okay, I got to look this up and find out what's going on. Well, here we see what happened here. And he left the meeting. He left the meeting while the metropolitans, the other bishops, were talking and asking questions. And you see he left. What kind of picture do you get with somebody that leaves a meeting and doesn't stay and try to work through things? I mean, does that sound like a hierarch? Is he listening to anything they were saying other than being offended by it because he left? That's what it sounds like. Did he not want to work out something? I mean, if you have most of them saying they can't do it, and they're asking questions, where is this money going? We don't know who these people are. Yeah, and then all this other money here at the end. I mean, that sounds really not good. I'll just say that, not good. We're gonna find out why. You know, what's going on with him? What happened here, other than the fact that he walked out and they said no in 2024 in July. What's going on here? This is like a bloated budget, isn't it? You know, and the metropolitans kept making this point. Look, our parishes are struggling enough. Quit asking for money from us. And why does his office, his specific office, need that much more money? Why? So now, I don't know if you're aware of this, but while I was researching all of this, I started looking into things, and I will give you this information. I'm just going to show you this headline. This was April 23rd, 2024. So this is before the meeting in July. This is April of 2024. Archbishop L files lawsuit against publisher of Salmus. Okay? So he filed this lawsuit against this Soterios Zoumas. He's the publisher of the Athens-based ecclesiastical news agency, Excepsalmus.gr. The lawsuit was filed on April 9th, 2024, before the multi-member court of Athens by the attorney of Archbishop L. Panagiotis Lassis. In the lawsuit, L seeks compensation of 300,000 euros, payment of legal expenses, and 1 year of imprisonment, alleging that Zoumas's articles insult his personality as Archbishop of America. He's suing because they insulted his personality? Really? Yeah, that just doesn't sound very. He says that whatever that he was characterized as, he believes the publication was, the publications came off as insulting, defamatory, false, and slanderous. And he emphasized that I have suffered and continue to suffer immense mental distress due to the serious insult to my honor, reputation, dignity, as well as my archiepiscopal ministry and standing. Well, what is it they said? I'm wondering what's going on here. Well, I'm going to give you an update because his lawsuit has gone to trial. This was February 6, 2025. And there is some concerning things in this particular article, still by the National Herald. They've been following this for quite a while. And he also wants them to pay $300,000, and also this person needs to be in jail. I don't know. But let me just get into this particular article. So the trial had started, Archbishop L versus this news agency, the Ecclesiastical News Agency. It was based on claims that publications and analyses by the website had disturbed Archbishop L, who was seeking $300,000 in damage. According to a post by Zomas on that news site, Archimandrite Vasilius Drosos, a close friend of Archbishop L and a long-time salaried quote-unquote senior advisor at the Archdiocese of America, testified in court in favor of L. Drosos had resided in the headquarters building of the Archdiocese on the 5th floor, while Archbishop L lived on the 6th floor and continues to do so. So right under where Archbishop L was living was this close friend. Additionally, Despo, and I can't pronounce the last name, a former professor of L in Thessaloniki, withdrew at the last moment from her promise to testify in favor of Zomas. She had given a revealing interview about L to the National Herald in April 2023. As reported by the National Herald on the weekend of December 23rd, 24th, 2023, Drosos left the Archdiocese and America on Friday, December 15th, 2023. Archbishop L had brought him from Athens on the day of his enthronement on June 9, 2019. Archbishop L's chancellor, Father Nectarius, can't pronounce the last name, who L later promoted to auxiliary bishop of Dioclea, had been responsible for arranging the necessary documentation for Drosos to obtain permanent residency or a green card in the United States. So, in December 2023, Drosos did not respond to calls or messages requesting his comments. Now, Drosos was also responsible for arranging daily meals for the Archbishop and his court of over 20 individuals eating within the Archdiocese. The Archdiocese provided daily meals from a nearby Greek restaurant, covering the costs. In previous years, going back to the tenure of the late Archbishop Iakovos, there had been a cook at the Archdiocese, but this position has never refilled after the retirement of Mr. Kyriakos. Drosos' presence and behavior in the Archdiocese often placed L in difficult positions, but no action was taken. Even L's close associates had raised complaints about Drosos' conduct. Notably, L's own Kombaros, Father Christos Papas, he has baptized Papas' son, from the Ascension of Fairview, New Jersey Parish, had repeatedly warned the Archbishop. As reported by the TNH on December 22nd, 23rd of 2023, a violent incident occurred 2 years ago in which Archimandrite Drosos physically assaulted then deacon and now Archimandrite Spiridon, that's what they're saying, who had also been brought from Halki by L. That's the professor. Now, the situation escalated when a confrontation occurred between Drosos and a senior official of an archdiocesan organization in full view of the archdiocese staff. In full view. So, now get this. This is another really important part that caught my attention. This all did, but sources from the FANAR. Sources from the FANAR indicate that Ecumenical Patriarch Bartholomew had recommended to Archbishop L that he remove Drosos from the archdiocese, but he reportedly ignored the patriarch's advice. Drosos had worked at the EP before being transferred to a parish in the Archdiocese of Athens through the mediation of the late Metropolitan Joachim of Chalcedon. So this Drosos seems to be a problem. And the fact that he was at the EP and then that he was transferred, basically, right? That tells you something. And all of these problems that were going on with him here in New York, right? You start getting the feeling that what Nicholas said in his Orthodox reflections isn't so harsh or isn't so off. There's him ignoring the patriarch's advice. I've been following this for a while, and I'm thinking, okay, maybe the EP isn't really that much in charge. Maybe he's really being controlled by other people. And I think we talked about that with the FANR, with the archons, as they say, or archons, however you want to say it. So you do recall that I showed you the article where Archbishop L, I think it was in 2024, 2023, sometime around there, he was speaking at the University of Maryland with the intelligence community, all of the different alphabet letter groups. And he was speaking about what was going on in Ukraine with the OCU church and how, it was a great thing, and helping the Ukrainians, but helping that church, not the UOC. That was reported by Orthodox Christian sometime around that time, if I remember correctly. It's in one of my videos. You can watch it. Geopolitics in the FANR. I think that's the one it's in, if you're wanting to watch that video, if you haven't seen it. So the point is, let's just go from here, because that's a pretty big deal. According to a report by the Ecclesiastical News Service, on January 26, 2025, that professor, L's professor at the Theological School of the University of Thessaloniki, had voluntarily promised to testify in court in favor of Zomas, right? We went over that. However, on the night before the trial, after arriving in Athens and meeting with Zomas, she informed him that she could not testify because she had reconciled with L. Reconciled with L. It should be noted that in April 2023, this professor had given an exclusive interview to the National Herald that's reporting this, in which she made significant revelations about L. According to the January 26, 2025 Excepsalmus report, Archbishop L's witness, Archimandrite Vasilios Drosos, stated in court that, quote, with authorization from L himself, the interview was a misunderstanding because this professor had allegedly been misled by Mr. Kalmoukas, who's the author of this particular article I'm reading to you right now. However, we reveal here, he's saying, right now, in this one from February 2025, we reveal here that the interview was conducted in writing. Questions were sent to that professor, who provided written responses and even selected photographs to accompany the interview. She also enlisted a theology professor to assist with translating her interview into English. From April 2023 until now, the professor never objected to the publication. On the contrary. Furthermore, the author of this article submitted a written statement to the court regarding the matter. Okay. So, everything Nicholas talked about in Orthodox Reflections. I will say this part. What he said about the money issue seems to be evidence on that, for sure. I don't know anything about any other problems with kickbacks and things like that, but this I found, and I can say it actually happened. So, what did we learn from what I shared? I mean, what did you get out of it? You have a meeting with the metropolitans of the Greek Orthodox Church, the Synod, where they're talking about their parishes are struggling. We're not going to be giving you any more money. And he walks out somewhere in the middle of that meeting. Maybe when they were questioning, maybe when they said that, who knows? But he left, and they had questioned why. Well, who's this? Who has the money? Where's it going? All of the uncomfortable questions, right? And then we have the suing. Well, I need to sue this person because my reputation has been ruined. Then the witness, all of a sudden, the night before the trial, oh no, I've reconciled. You've reconciled, but does that change the evidence that you put forth? Does it change what happened at that time? Sure, of course, it's fine to not have hard feelings against people, but does it change the real story of what happened? And the timing is very suspicious. And then the ignoring the EP. And that whole story regarding this suing and the trial is very fishy to me. I don't know. I'm not going to make all these allegations. I'm not going to say, I don't feel like I can say what was said in the Orthodox Reflections article. There was a lot of passion in that and a lot of strong wording, but when I first read that, I immediately felt like falling to my knees and praying, because I thought, oh my gosh, this man is in such bad shape. The Archbishop is in such bad shape. He is so immersed in worldly things that he's lost his compass of being a shepherd to his flock in such a way that one would not be suing somebody for their reputation. It sounds too much like an ego thing. So I did pray for him, because I felt, this is terrible. This needs to change. There's some ugly things, and we all need to be praying for people who are struggling in such this manner. It's not good what's going on, no matter how you slice it, as they say. The things that have been going on, that I've been reading, and really ever since the enthronement, 2019, with the UOC, with the St. Nicholas Shrine, with this trial, with the suing, with the meeting with the Synod. It's all a pattern of not good things. So I wanted to share it with you. Lord have mercy on him, and Lord have mercy on everyone involved. Lord have mercy on us all. Praying that this something is figured out in this mess. It's not good. There was a part of me that thought, man, he really needs to be removed from his position. But I definitely wouldn't make any accusations. That I'm just going by what I've read and the allegations that have been said. That's there's some real not good. So we got to keep praying. We got to be praying for our hierarchs and all that. Even in this, people, oh, it's terrible, and the EP, and all this. But there's a different twist here. There's something different going on here when you read about the ignoring of the EP. There's something that made me kind of change on what exactly is going on with the EP. I don't know, but things need to be cleaned up. Things need to be cleared up. Things need to be settled. We'll see what happens with this trial. I'll try to keep an eye on that, and if anything else comes up with this trial, I'll keep an eye on that and I'll let you know. I hope this was helpful to you. I hope in learning all this, share your thoughts as well. But also, of course, we always pray. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks so much for following my channel. If you haven't subscribed, consider subscribing. If you like any of my videos, please like them. Press that like button. Hit that notification bell so that you'll be notified when my videos come out. If you'd like to become a member, hit that join button underneath the video. Be a part of my team. If you would like to support me periodically, you can still go to that link in the description for buying me a cup of coffee. God bless.